Preston, this camp behind me with the security guard under the canopy, it is on King County property, and King County is no longer allowing our cameras to go inside. Even though the asylum seekers, they wanted to show us around today, they are still desperate for help, although King County says it is doing what it can. People from Angola, Congo, and other countries in crisis came outside the fence line when they learned KOMO News is not allowed inside with recording equipment.
Thank you for your patience. I'd like to call the meeting back to order.
Many want their stories told, so much so they showed up at the King County Council chambers to plead with local leaders directly.
Please help me, because I need to have a future and study. Please help us and give us house.
Asylum seekers turned the public comment section of the meeting into heartbreaking testimonials. Not all know English.
You can see there are pregnant women. We can't sleep correctly because we don't have beds to sleep in.
This file footage taken prior to the camera ban was from a day when people were being assigned housing. And King County has come through with help. $10 million have been invested so far to help 540 asylum seekers, with priority often going to the most vulnerable and families with young children. But it still falls short of the need.
I came here to say that my family's not sleeping good. We're only sleeping in the tent.
These asylum seekers say they want to support themselves and their children, but are waiting on work permits and other documents, which can take months to process. The state legislature allocated $32 million to the effort, but contracts with service providers are still being worked out, while these families just try to survive.
How can you sleep at night when you know that our children are going hungry?
Well, a lot of that state money that's coming in, it is expected to make a difference sometime in September, even as the challenges mount by the day here at this encampment. Reporting live, Joel Marino, KOMO News.
For months, asylum seekers living in Kent say they've been struggling to find work and permanent housing. Now they're taking those concerns directly to King County leaders and asking for help. Tonight, I talked with Joel Moreno about the assistance that's now being provided and how much more help is still needed. Well, Joel, thanks for being with us here on ARC Seattle tonight. So first off, why did these asylum seekers choose the King County Council as their place where they were going to go and plead for help?
Right. So they've actually visited a number of legislative bodies. They've gone to the Seattle City Council in the past, at least other groups of asylum seekers. They chose the King County Council because right now this encampment in Kent, it's on property owned by King County. And it's really kind of been administered by King County Executive Dow Constantine. He's been kind of in control of the purse strings, but they feel that there's just so much more help that they need, so they wanted to go to council members to try to plead with them to make something happen. And so they showed up for public testimony. You know, it wasn't like a scheduled thing. And one after another, they stated their case and just kind of talked about the deplorable conditions, pregnant women sleeping on the ground, children, you know, in dirt and mud, and dealing with snakes and insects. It was pretty moving to hear them talk.
You know, what kind of help has King County given these people so far?
You know, actually quite a bit. I was surprised to learn the actual numbers. I was told today from a spokesperson with the executive's office, $10 million have been spent since about November of 2023, when these efforts really kicked up to help these asylum seekers just because of the flood of them that were the country and ending up in Washington State. $10 million already from King County. Now, a lot of that has come from state funds that have been distributed by King County, and they've passed that on to service providers like the Low Income Housing Institute and a group called Thrive International. But it's a considerable amount of money that's helped about 550 asylum seekers so far, but more keep coming.
So, Joel, I'm curious, I've asked this question in the past, I believe, to Jackie and others, but why Washington? Why did these people choose Washington? A. B, did they choose Washington? C, how did they get here from the border when they crossed over? You know any of that stuff?
Yeah, so I don't have the full Not the full backstory. I've got a general sense from aid workers that have been helping these people. There's a pretty significant language barrier for me. I am not multilingual, unfortunately, and a lot of these people come from places like Angola and Congo, Venezuela, a few from, well, they speak Portuguese, so I'm not sure if they're from Brazil or somewhere else. But they have been essentially coming through the southern border. The people from Congo have made their way to South America and then made that trek up through the southern border to come to the United States. Many have, from what I've been told, heard stories about the help that they can receive. They've come seeking asylum, and it is a legal status where they are allowed to be in the country as asylum seekers because fleeing some kind of persecution in their home countries or maybe civil war, a variety of circumstances.
Bill, I got a question
that make
for you though. When it comes to this group of people who came through the southern border and didn't seek asylum at a port of entry, does it make them any less able to get the care that they need because they didn't go about it the right way? Do we know any of that?
Well, they have been granted asylum status, and so it makes them eligible for help, unlike, say, someone who would be an undocumented immigrant who's just essentially, sneaked across the border and doesn't really have any legal standing. These folks have legal standing, but it's a lengthy process for them to get the documents that they need to actually work in this country and reside here. It can take 9 months to a year easily to go through the kind of immigration proceedings and the work permits. So it's a long time, and they're not legally able to hold down jobs in any legal capacity. And so, and they've got young children, many of them, and wives of pregnant women. So it's kind of a situation for sure. And I don't have a complete grasp of it all, but it's really been an increase that we've seen in Washington State in the last year and a half of people seeking refuge here.
So when it comes to King County, is it all on their shoulders? Is the federal government helping out at all? Or is it basically just going to King County and just getting whatever they can from them and that's it?
So the state is working on its own program that it's been trying to roll out. It's just taken a while. The state legislature, when they were still in session earlier this year, they set aside $32 million to help asylum seekers. It's taken a while for that money to trickle down. They've tried to line up contracts with service providers. That's taken a while to ink those deals. And I had originally heard a timeline of maybe mid-July that they'd start to see help on the ground. That hasn't happened yet. Now they're saying sometime in September, so possibly weeks away, where they're going to have this kind of new centralized intake system where people will be processed upon arrival, and they would qualify for certain benefits, I guess you'd say. They'd be prioritized based on maybe how vulnerable they are, and if there's young children in their group and that sort of thing. And so the state is working to get that in place to take the burden off of local jurisdictions, or at least to supply the money that local jurisdictions would need to offer the kind of help that these people are seeking. So it's a lengthy process, and it's taken a lot longer than people had imagined.
Okay, Joe Moreno, thanks for the updates tonight. Keep us posted as things continue to develop. And as always, thanks for being with us here in our Seattle tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Preston.